There is a compelling interest, obviously, in keeping our workforce and the public with which we interact safe from COVID cases. And for instance, in the New York case that's currently going on against the state of New York, the Thomas More Society is representing a bunch of doctors and nurses who claim that they would sin gravely if they acted in cooperation with the evil of abortion. How would they be doing so? The claim is that all three of the current vaccines either have fetal cells that were obtained by abortions in the vaccine itself, or in the case of Pfizer and Moderna, that those vaccines were tested using fetal cells that had been aborted. And even the connection to the previous testing makes them cooperative with evil in a way that their religion prohibits. I don't want to say anything too categorical, but I believe that when this claim will be very difficult for agencies to successfully claim that that's either insincere or non-religious. Even if it is, even if we know that many of those claims are not sincere or are sincere but not religious, this is the most common claim you're going to confront probably, and it's likely that you will have to take as a given the employee's claim.
The truth is that you have not had a hearing. You haven't had your day in court.
Brooke Jackson, who is a whistleblower who exposed that the Pfizer clinical trials were riddled not only with error, but with fraudulent and false certifications to the U.S. government. What's fascinating is Pfizer has moved to dismiss the case, and their grounds to dismiss, as they repeated in the scheduling conference we had this week, is that it doesn't matter if they submitted fraudulent certifications to the government. It doesn't matter if they submitted false statements under penalty of perjury to the government. It doesn't matter if they lied about the safety and efficacy of these drugs, because the government was in on it with them. The government knows what's going on, and the government still would have given them the check anyway. So is it really fraud if the government's their co-conspirator? That is, in essence, Pfizer's defense so far.
This is the Commoner Law Group's introduction to our new course, #GoToCourtLegal. If you've been with us for the last year, you know that we've been in the trenches with you fighting the vaccine mandates as a condition of employment or as a condition of attendance at school. A year ago, we jumped into action because a number of our students were facing vaccine mandates. We were dedicated to using the common law approach. We didn't know what would happen. People were absolutely furious. They were clear in their hearts that what was happening is not right. All of the justifications that people used about the importance of community health didn't see the emergency. And we knew it in our hearts, and we wanted to do something about it. We initiated a whole program dedicated to fighting based on the common law. The people who succeeded were the ones who kept going, the ones who put forth their documentation to their employer, and they did it with such conviction and they did it with such confidence that the employer made informal exceptions for those people. The courts were very reticent to accept a common law filing for a case. Some people were successful in getting their cases filed, and they got in front of a judge, and in 5 different cases, they all lost. The judges were unsympathetic. They didn't consider the way that the filing was done to be adequate. And in some cases, they also used the opportunity to voice their own personal opinion. We don't know what's really in the minds of these judges, but we did learn so much. Common law proceedings have been almost made illegal. The rules of court have lessened and lessened the various avenues that we have to use the courts in just a common law way. That brings us to today. We are changing our strategy to go legal. That's why this is called #GoToCourtLegal, because we're going to use the system as it is to get you justice. I'm so excited to introduce to you Zeke Lehman. We just met a couple of months ago. He showed up to our research group. Meeting Zeke was something I consider like a miracle, in the sense that I was looking for someone who, if you weren't a lawyer, but someone who has as much experience and understanding as a lawyer, but who comes from the same understanding of the common law and the importance of we the people as free people. He understands completely the order of authority in common law. But as you'll hear in his story, there's a time in life to get practical. and not be puritanical about your approach.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank everyone here for attending. And I especially like to thank Clint for partnering up with me to provide these clinics. In the short time that I've known him, I believe that we have created a strong bond that will be of great benefit to all of us, me and him included. So let me tell you a little about me. I was born and raised on a Navy base in the Mojave Desert, and I lived there till 1974. That was through high school. I've lived in California all my life. I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. My dad's a design engineer, and my mom's a substitute teacher, an English major, and she volunteered for the Democratic Party. I tagged along as we campaigned for Kennedy and Johnson. In 1976, my brother introduced me to an active member of the Libertarian Party, and that sparked my interest in liberty and freedom. I became a state delegate, state and federal delegate. I received a $1,000 scholarship from the Libertarian Party to attend Chico State for political science. In 1982, I spent 6 months enjoying my own personal freedom and liberty hitchhiking across Australia. Loved it. Within 10 minutes of being picked up from the airport by my parents, on returning, my mother says that the taxes are destroying our small classified ads paper business in Grass Valley. My reaction, without thinking, must have came from my libertarian background. Well, join a tax revolt group. She did. And that was the beginning of what became our family law firm and our stand for liberty, justice, and the American way. We turned in our driver's licenses, and my mom received a $250,000 tax assessment from the IRS. Even though she and all of us were totally devastated, we remained extremely positive. We were buried in legal work, teaching what we learned while defending tickets and fighting the IRS. We faced more tickets and attacks from law enforcement, but kept going because we knew we were right. We stood on the Constitution and the liberty principles. It got so bad that I left Grass Valley. I went back to Chico. I changed my name to Zeke Lehman and began to study in the Chico State Law Library 4 to 6 hours a day. So when I'm buried in these books, I begin to realize that we've been banging our heads against the wall on principle. But I could see a way out by using the due process to get our principles heard. So use the system to our advantage and play both sides. So I began to implement these new strategies, started getting results. This gave me enough confidence to start a legal clinic called the Equity Center, and I opened an office in downtown Chico. I continued researching, helping people in cases from tickets to felonies, mortgages, unlawful detainers, family law, contract law, and various other areas. I've helped over 1,000 people with legal advice and hundreds of specific cases. After closing the office in 2016, I continued to counsel and consult with people that would contact me from my website, powerpolitics.com. In 2020, I was invited to join a legal mastermind group, and we've been talking and researching the pandemic, vaccines, and the legal cases that are going on presently. From this almost lifelong participation in research and legal experience, I've developed a perspective and an understanding of the law so that I can confidently tell you that I can coach, advise, and help you to succeed in your wrongful termination case or any case related to employment or the vaccine mandates. One of the many takeaways from my 40 years of legal experience, which happens to be what Clint had just told you, is if you don't give up, anything can happen. So I want to give you a little short example that just happened this week. Okay, one of the members of our mastermind class had been suing a tow company for more than 2 years. So last week, we're discussing and helping him prepare for trial. And we determined his case was pretty weak. But he was going to proceed for the principal and go for it, and also the learning experience. He wanted to gain experience in court and that he hadn't had. So on last Monday, he put in his trial brief. And on Wednesday, the opposing lawyer replied and said, "We'll see you in court." Then on Thursday, the lawyer called him and said the tow company was willing to fill the tires, put a new battery in the car, and return it to him if he would accept that. He called the tow company on Friday, or yesterday, and they settled. So this canceled the trial that was set for Monday. Again, the moral, if you don't give up, anything can happen. So now I want to tell you a little about where I see us going and what to expect on your journey. I can relate to how many of you feel today losing your income unexpectedly can be totally devastating, as we were. But as you obtain your forms, you formulate your complaint, and you file it, you're going to experience emotional feelings, maybe some unsurety, and maybe some resistance, but that's okay. Because I know how to handle all the resistance any clerk, judge, or lawyer can come up with, so you can relax. Forms, electronic filing, email, and the court rules have made your journey through the courts much simpler than ever before. You will successfully get your paperwork filed, clearly answer and respond to all motions and briefs, and be heard by the court. This clinic is that good. You can expect many of the court myths to be exposed and completely disappear when your approach is to use the rules and procedures to your advantage. The court has been set up for this purpose. This will clear your mind so you can focus on the facts of your case. Our wrongful determination complaint is comprehensive and put together in a logical step-by-step format. This allows us more time to research and focus on the issues. So I can tell you with confidence that after every class with us, you're going to feel empowered, excited, and relieved as you head towards your personal victory for the wrongful termination that you've suffered. So now I'm going to send it back over to Clint for more details on signing up for the clinic.
It's called Go to Court Legal because we're going the legal route. We're going to play by their rules. But in so doing, we get the opportunity to express all the beautiful things that make our country the land of the free. We're keeping in mind the full picture, how you can win without a lawyer by following the court rules through 3 phases. But that's so far down the road. For now, just to deal with what's right in front of you, we're going to focus on the first phase only. There's so much that can happen in this first phase, and many of you will have won already before you ever get to trial. You will get a trial date set potentially, but just as we heard from somebody, what was it? The Friday before the Monday the trial was to start, they decided to settle. That's how it might roll for you. It's a game. It's a brinksmanship. It's like basketball. There's no one way to play a game, but things come up and you adapt. So that's why we've created this course. You're going to get general education and coaching for plaintiffs in a wrongful termination civil suit. So you learn the various terms, like what is emotion? What are facts? What are causes of action? One of them is discovery. So you can see here that the discovery will begin right away. You're going to start gathering the facts that you have and get in contact with your employer. If there's some things missing, you're going to start gathering the facts as you move forward after the complaint. Then you actually get official discovery, which means you force them to produce evidence and make admissions. Even if you want to depose them, which means have them in person, you can interview them on record, on camera. That's a possibility too. But the point is, throughout the whole process, you're constantly adding to the record of facts, the actual facts of your case. The first part of phase 1 is to exhaust your administrative remedies. Some people have already begun that phase. You heard already today that people are already in the middle of exhausting their administrative remedies with the regulatory agencies of the state or federal who are there to make sure that employers don't discriminate against you on any protected classes. We're also going to ask you to try one more time with your employer by requesting a meet and confer with your employer during this, because that's also considered exhausting a remedy that the judge, if you do make it to trial, will look favorably upon. It is an optional request for right to sue from your regulatory agency. Someone actually was talking about how California, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, was dragging their feet. And even though the statute declares how many days they have to respond, to do the investigation based on your complaint and do the investigation and respond to you, in some cases it should be done in 30 days. And we're hearing, though, that for some reason they're taking longer. So you have the option of circumventing that, declining their investigation, and simply requesting a quote unquote right to sue. So either you get a right to sue straight out, or you lodge your complaint with this regulatory agency, allow them to go through their investigative process. That also puts facts on the record. In terms of the gamesmanship, it tells your employer that you're serious. Once that's done, however, you will want to quickly file your complaint. While we're waiting for an administrative agency to respond, you have plenty of time to construct and craft your complaint. In fact, specifically the causes of action that are the meat of your complaint. So you're going to devise your strategy of winning. Again, winning is kind of different to everybody. Do you want your job back? Do you want money? Do you need to have the trial, have it be that you were right on the record, or are you willing to take a settlement, even though they won't admit to being wrong, they'll just offer you a settlement? You craft your allegations based on the facts and the law in your jurisdiction. If you're going to organize your exhibits, you need to keep through this process. We're going to help you, but you need to be organized. You'll summons the defendant. We'll talk about who the defendant should be. Is it the CEO? Is it the human resources director? Is it your manager? Who will you be summoning? You'll choose also the best court venue for you, whether it's federal or state. Once the complaint is filed, and of course the complaint goes to your employer, then they have a chance to respond. They have an obligation to respond, I should say, and within a certain number of days. And so we're going to teach you how to deal with those responses, whether that's a motion to dismiss, which is going to be their first go-to, predictably. They don't want to go to trial. They're going to try to ask for a dismissal before the trial even begins based on any number of procedural matters. It will definitely include some education on what you can do in anticipation of those. And then they do have affirmative defenses, which could be like, well, I have evidence that she isn't actually religious and she isn't actually sincere. So they do have an opportunity to do what's called an affirmative defense, and we'll handle that as well. And then finally, the last part of the first phase, which is to win before trial, is to move for summary judgment. That will be the day when everyone's seen all the facts and all the law. It's quite apparent that this was a breach of contract. They definitely were prejudiced against me in their treatment. It's time for you just to go ahead and just make a decision based on all that's sitting here in front of you before we even go to trial. And that would be a great day. So that's the general outline. That's as far out into the future. Beyond that horizon, again, is the trial, or maybe an appeal of that case to a higher court. All that we're definitely keeping track of. Zeke and I are talking about it, but we just wanted to get something out to you to focus on right now, where you could literally win within the next month or two. And that's what this course is all about. So we have a few options for you to choose from. The whole design is to get you the support you need. Again, we're fortunate that so many of the elements of your cases are similar, but we're going to direct you and try to streamline it to keep it focused. At the same time, allowing that there could be some variations that come up as well. See how much is overlap and how much is distinct from one another. So you'll get that education and coaching for 2 months. This series of clinics goes through the end of August. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 hours on Tuesday nights, starting at 4:00 Pacific and 7:00 Eastern on Tuesdays, every Tuesday between now and the end of August. And we're also going to have Saturdays at this same time, so noon Pacific and 3 Eastern for 2 hours. And then if you want, you also have an option to attend both Tuesdays and Saturdays, in case you believe that you need that extra support. What you can expect to get your lawsuit filed and ready for trial. There's plenty of education involved. You're going to learn the basics of civil lawsuits to be successful as a plaintiff. You're going to get help in navigating all the bureaucratic forms and procedures of the court. That's where Zeke is just, he's got it. He's not deterred at all. I get a little squeamish when I see one too many forms. It starts to make my stomach ill. But Zeke can just help us pile right through them. And then you're going to understand the people you'll meet and how to treat them, because again, this is a game and it's partly psychological. So Zeke has lots of experience and advice for you about how to relate to the judge and the other lawyers and your former employer so that you can get the result that you want. We're going to provide coaching to you, right? So again, you need to determine your legal issues and define what winning means to you. We're going to make sure you don't get stuck, that you stay motivated. You know, there's a lot of fight in us, but sometimes we can get discouraged, and we won't let that happen. When you come to the clinics, you're going to be enlivened, you're going to be excited, you're going to be with other people, and we're going to keep you motivated. And then you need continuous feedback on your strategy and how it's unfolding. Who knows what's going to come up specifically in everybody's situation. The group support is important too. You know, we considered, didn't we, Zeke, just offering you a one-on-one. You know, you could work with people in a one-on-one capacity. We will make Zeke available for one-on-ones in addition to this course if you like, if you need it. But we realize that there's something important about the group support. You hear things in other people's stories that trigger you and help you be creative and how to deal with your opponent. Get inspiration from your fellow participants, and you're going to share documents too. If you care, we'll have a document repository. It'll make it easy for you to share your documents. And there will also be a private discussion group on Telegram that you'll be invited to. Only participants of this course will be in that private discussion group. We have a pricing structure that we think is fair. This week, the course starts Tuesday. Every class is going to be recorded, and you will get access on your private membership area on commonerlaw.com. All of the clinics, both Tuesdays and Saturdays, will be available to everybody to watch. Yeah, we're going to start this coming Tuesday for the Tuesday session. It's going to go all the way through the end of August. We did this because we realized that some people are available on weekdays and some people are not available on weekends, and vice versa. So this is going to be the tuition. Another benefit, once you sign up for the course, you will be able to become an affiliate with the Commoner Law Group, which gives you the benefit of sharing this course with other people. If they sign up, then you can receive a percentage of their tuition. So that can help. If you can enroll 3 people in joining you, then that will pay for your tuition. We want to get started quickly, and we don't want any obstacles. So we're offering, yes, a reduction in the tuition for a couple of days. This is to encourage you to take action, to figure out what you need to figure out, make the decision that you need to make right now, again, because we are always moving quickly at the Commoner Law Group. We're not holding still. So if by Monday you purchase, you will receive a 30% discount off of the regular tuition. But starting Tuesday morning, it's the regular tuition. And I really invite everyone to consider your alternatives. You can hire a lawyer. I've heard people paid $5,000 up front to the lawyer, and then they have to give the lawyer the lion's share of the financial compensation when they're done. So that is an option for you. The other alternatives to manage your own legal affairs is to, say, take a class where somebody gives you the instructions, written instructions, and some paperwork templates, for example, and then you're left on your own, more or less, to go figure it out. And you don't get the opportunity to get questions and answers in real time when you need them. And you don't get the opportunity to be with a group who's also going through it with you together. So there's lots of different options, and we've crafted this one because we know there's a need out there for people to do it themselves, but not by yourself, is the way to say it. You're doing it for yourself, but with the group. And that's the unique opportunity for you to choose today. So go ahead and sign up. You can go to our website, commonerlaw.com, and the very first banner there is #GoToCourtLegal. And you can click through to register. If you just want to go straight to the registration page quickly, this is the URL. I hope that this time was valuable for you, whether or not you choose to join us, that at least the time that you took to be with us is valuable to you, that you're better off, so to speak, than when you first got here. We're here to provide a service first and foremost. We have an objective that you get what you want. When you say what winning means to you, that's what we want for you, is to win. of course, with integrity and honor and all that good stuff. With that, everyone, Zeke, let's send them off with some blessings and see them Tuesday and or Saturday.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Goodbye.